What is up, DMV basketball fans? Welcome into another Believe in DMV Hoops. I'm Matt Moderno. Joining me today is Ace Valentine of UMBC. Ace, how's it going?
Going well. Feeling good. Feeling good.
I gotta just say up front, man, like there are certain names in sports, like Colt McCoy was a quarterback name. Like
Mm.
Ace Valentine is a point guard name. Like that's
Yeah,
awesome. I don't know. You probably heard that before, but that's a really good sports name.
yeah. I'm glad I have like a unique name. So yeah.
Love that. For anybody not familiar with Ace's game, played last year as a freshman at UMBC, started 21 of 32 games, averaged 6.5 points, about 4 rebounds, about 3 assists, about a steal a game, shot 40% from the field, about 33-ish% from three. Really good, solid freshman year. We'll get into a little bit more detail on that here in a minute, but first, we're brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside Hard Iced Teas, and brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your sports needs this season, from MLB, golf, UFC, tennis, everything you can think of. Get the latest stats, news, scores, all available for your favorite teams. Get the latest odds, matchup reports, all those kind of things. Player props. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, Ace, just how was year one, man? How did you feel about things?
I mean, well, from a team standpoint, I feel like we should have, been better than we were. We had like a 8 game skid, so that was a tough part of the season. But
Mhm.
I feel like individually, I definitely took strides. You know, playing my role, and find a way to get in the starting lineup and stuff. So I feel like as a freshman, I did pretty well, but definitely looking to take a better step this year.
For sure. You mentioned that kind of 8 game skid there. I guess what led to that? Was that injuries? Was that just guys not clicking at the right time? I'm sure you guys have talked about it after the fact,
Yeah.
but what kind of led to that?
I think it was a mix. I mean, we had a couple of injuries, but nothing like too major. It was really like our defense was in a tough point. Like we
Mhm.
couldn't. I mean, our rebounding was bad,
Sure.
and we just couldn't hold teams to like under like 85. So it was tough. So I mean, yeah, that was definitely a focus when we ended that skid, and then
Mhm.
once we like learned from that, towards the end of conference, they said we were like top three defense
That's
towards the
good.
end of the in the conference. So I mean, we learned from it. So that was what we needed to do.
I think, sometimes, especially for you as a freshman too, like freshman year, sometimes it's about like learning and making those adjustments. And
Definitely.
basketball is one of those sports where like sometimes stuff like that snowballs a little bit and it takes a
Right.
little longer to figure out than you need. And just, it just get a little unlucky with, hey, we figured it out. It just took us a little too long sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
You mentioned year one for you and kind of learning here and playing your way into the starting lineup and things like
Mhm.
that. Was there something you figured out over the course of the year that kind of helped you get to that point where they trusted you to start games and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, really just it's kind of like you got to be you got to be like irreplaceable. Like when they put me in the game, they told me play real hard on defense. Like I'm
Mhm.
guarding 94.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some they usually will put me on the best guard. So
Mhm.
I mean, it was just like I had to try to find my way to be like, okay, we got to keep him in the game,
Yeah.
and that's what I started doing. Like, so it was defense at first,
Mhm.
and then I was also taking care of the ball. They had me playing the one, and in the beginning, like we kind of were turning the ball over a little bit too much. So when I was trying to play in the game, I was trying to take care of the ball and get
Mhm.
us into our offense, and then our offense started flowing more smoothly. So I just felt like I found my way to like kind of like be irreplaceable more, and then they had to keep me in the game, and that led to me starting. So yeah,
That's awesome. I guess just for anybody who hasn't seen your game, how would you describe how you play?
um, well, definitely take pride in my defense. I mean, like throughout, it really started like junior year of high school.
Mhm.
They would start putting me on like all the best players that we would play against. So I mean, it really just started. It was a mentality from there. Like just try to slow down the other team's best player, and then offensively, like I love getting downhill. So I love creating for others. Like I'm a point guard first, so I'm definitely trying to initiate, trying to get others involved. And then when I get down, I'm a good finisher. I'm saying finish around the rim over anybody. So I feel like I'm crafty around the rim too, because I'm not like that athletic, like with jumping wise, but
Mhm.
I know how to use my speed to get downhill, create left, right, either way. So and then this year coming up, I'm gonna be definitely shooting the ball more.
Mhm. Is that just, hey, I'm a sophomore now, I feel more comfortable in my place and taking more shots in the pecking order here, or calling my own number a little bit more as the point guard? Was that kind of a hard balance for you to strike in year one?
Yeah, I mean, and I remember in the beginning of freshman year, like I wasn't hitting
Mhm.
shots as much, like threes and stuff. And coach told me like, try to take the open one because I was
Mhm.
taking tough shots, like
Sure.
shots I was used to shooting in high school.
Yeah.
But now since I'm used to like the 3-point line more,
Mhm.
and then um, really just getting so many shots up, working on my game, trying to expand it. I mean, I just feel like way more comfortable, coming into this next year, coming into a even bigger role. Also, just have to be comfortable taking, you know, opening up my game, taking more
Mhm.
threes, so that they have to respect the three, and
Yeah.
that's when I can get downhill more. So yeah,
You played on a good Mount St. Joseph team, and you were the focal point of an offense there, and I gotta imagine you didn't get too many wide open looks.
yeah,
So, this year, you probably had more kinda wide open 3 attempts than you've probably
definitely,
ever had. Is that just a mental adjustment to, like, "Wait, where's my defender?"
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I always used to say like I shoot better with a hand in my face,
Yeah.
and then like people scout and they see
Mhm.
like I really don't want to not didn't want to, but
Sure.
that's not my my top strength. So
Mhm.
they would like sag off a little bit. So, but it was really like now it'll be more opportunities for me to shoot that thing. So yeah,
I feel like in high school, you made a lot of big clutch threes
but,
too, and if you can hit it in a pressure situation with a hand in your face, as long
right,
as you get comfortable, you're gonna start to be able to hit wide open ones here too.
definitely. I always take pride in clutch shots. Like it really starts in practice. Like I'm always aiming to take the last shot,
Mhm.
whatever drill we in, whatever we could do on a scrimmage game or anything. I always try to aim to take the last shot, and that started back in high school. And I felt like I had two big game winners
Mhm.
back in high school, and I just felt like it starts in practice, and it really starts like when I'm in the gym alone, like
Sure.
oh I gotta hit this shot, you know what I'm saying, just being like clutching my head. So
Mhm.
yeah,
A couple things you talked about in your game there. I have notes from myself of watching you play. Is like a lot of guys don't want to finish left hand, left side,
yeah,
even at the Division 1 level, but you do
mhm,
that extremely well, and you're not afraid to drive left. And I think
right,
that kind of caught the defense off guard a little
yeah,
bit this year too. So is that something you work pretty hard on?
yeah. I mean, cause it's funny, cause back in middle school, like I used
Mhm.
to be a spot up, like
Okay.
I was just a corner sitter,
Mhm.
shoot the ball. But then when I got to probably around junior year, and I was just like, okay, I'm kind of a bigger guard, and I'm
Mhm.
like fast, so I really need to start, get downhill. And then so I worked on like my handle and all that, and just working on just like getting by people. That's
Mhm.
it. And then the finishes like in practice, I'm finishing. I got to finish over like Omani Hansberry or Aiden Mess. Like those are some of the biggest bigs that were in the Baltimore area.
Yeah.
And so it was just like you got to be creative. So I mean, you can't just be one dimensional, only right hand. You got
Mhm.
to be able to use both. So it was just an adjustment, and then I started exploiting that, getting downhill as much as I could, and then you know the finishing just came with it. Just had touch around the rim. I worked on miking and all them drills and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that definitely helped.
You mentioned it there. You've got good touch. You're a bigger
Mhm.
guard. You can get to the rim. Uh, is free throw attempt something that the coaching staff has been on you about for this year? Is
Yeah,
getting to the line more? Because that
definitely.
was one thing I would have said is the one attempt, 1.5 attempts per game. Like if you
Yeah,
start getting 4 or 5 a game, even couple free points,
yeah.
that'll really start things off for you. I would think.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my coaches, Coach Lawson. He was like,
Mhm.
the goal is 100, like at least 100 free throws. I feel like
Yeah,
I can get more than that. So
sure,
definitely, got to get them up. Yeah, got to
that
get
makes
them
sense.
out.
Other thing I noticed watching you play a lot too is just decision making, right? Like
Mhm.
especially as a bigger guard, you get a decent amount of rebounds. And, like, for a guard, you throw really good outlet passes. Usually think of, like,
Mhm.
a center or a power forward throwing them, but you make good decisions in those
Right.
situations, and, that's cool to see. Is that something you always kinda had a knack for?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when we were in, I'm not gonna lie. When I was in high school, I really didn't rebound that much.
Okay.
But when I got to UMBC, the goal was to like advance pass, advance pass. We
Mhm.
worked had so many drills on that,
Yep.
and sometimes it would be even like an individual workout with me and me and Coach Baker,
Mhm.
and we would just work on like getting the outlet, getting the rebound, push out, and then advance up the sideline or advance whatever run, whatever which one. So I just feel like working on that pass, it's become second nature. So yeah,
That's cool to hear because I think for you as a good decision maker, if you can get those rebounds, it cuts down on one pass to get from a big to you to the next
right,
pass, so you can
that,
start the break right away, and that makes you guys so much harder to guard, I think.
yeah, definitely.
Is there a particular person that you watch or study or watch film of that you're trying to take different pieces of their game and incorporate into yours?
Definitely, there's a couple. Tyrese Maxey,
Go
um,
on.
Dame Lillard, a little bit of Dennis Schroeder too, and John
I like
Wall. Those are probably four I watch the most. I just like how they, some of their dribble packages or like the
mhm,
way they get downhill, especially with like Tyrese Maxey and Dennis Schroeder or John Wall. The way they get downhill is
mhm.
just crazy. And then with Dame Lillard, like his shot creation, like how how creative he is when he gets to different pull ups or floaters and all that stuff. So those probably the most. Yeah,
I like the Schroeder call too because
yeah,
especially if you saw, like, Olympic Schroeder this year, man, he was,
exactly.
like, the ultimate point of attack defender in the whole
Exactly.
tournament. Like, guys were afraid to dribble around him, I think.
Mm-hmm. He's lethal, so that's
That's cool.
definitely a guy I watch a lot.
Mentioned going to Mount St. Joe's. You guys were really good while you were there. Your final 3 seasons, 80 and 14. So this year, you guys underachieved a little bit, I think, from what everybody expected going into this season.
Yeah,
11 and 21. Was that extra tough as somebody who, hasn't done a lot of losing in his high school career?
yeah. I remember talking with my parents about like I just lost more games than I did in 4 years, really counting like my freshman year. So
Mhm.
it was just definitely an adjustment, definitely a test to just stay with it, like stay mentally with it, like don't just like stop trying because we losing that much, like
Mhm.
because I every most of our games were like close, like even with the big teams like Vermont and UMass Lowell, like
Mhm.
something like our games were close, so we knew we was right there.
Yep.
We just had to just keep fighting and try to get over that hump. And I just felt like, it was definitely a tough stretches. Like sometimes, the team would get down on ourselves and stuff like that. But I feel like we did a pretty good job of staying with it and,
Mhm.
just try to fight every day for a win. So, but we also knew that we would like bottom, bottom 10 or something crazy like that in age. Like we were some of the youngest,
That makes a big
youngest
difference.
team in, the nation. So, but I just feel like, we got a good mindset and
Mhm.
most of our approaches to the game. So, yeah.
No competitor likes kind of the moral victory portion of it, but I,
Yeah,
I think when you look at it from that perspective, when you are a younger team, especially you as a younger player, like I don't know, I'm hoping that this offseason you guys will focused on, hey, here are the things we did do well
yeah, yeah,
and can kind of transition or translate into next season too.
definitely. Yeah, has to be a focus that because I feel like we got more returners. Definitely have more returners this year, so we know like what the problems were
Mhm.
last year, and we know what we need to focus on. We just got to apply it. So,
Started 21 of 32 games as a freshman, which is probably pretty cool because that means, your coaching staff trusts you or you built trust with them over the course of
right,
the year. I guess, how's your relationship with Coach Barry and the rest of the staff?
everybody. I'm been rocking with the coaching staff. It really started early. Like they were, I think, my first or second interest.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I've been on them since about late 2021,
Mhm.
and they've just been in my ear. Like they know what's best for me. And so, that I couldn't ask for anything more. Like, they're there for me on and off the court. And this is a great relationship, each of the coaches. So, yeah.
That relationship is so important, I think, in college basketball, just with the transfer portal and things like that too. When you
Exactly.
trust guys and you got an opportunity early and you can build it for next year, like that, I think that makes the decision to stay like a pretty
Yeah.
easy one when you think about it.
Yeah. I didn't even, a lot of these dudes, like, it's a whole, I can't wait to get out of here and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I didn't even have a thought about trying to run it back. Like, we got unfinished business. Like, we, can't have the same season we had last year. So,
Mm.
yeah.
I love that, and I think that's I've said this on a couple other episodes recently. We've had a couple other freshmen going into their sophomore year that played on teams that maybe didn't do as well as they would have liked, and
Right.
unfinished business has come up every single
Yeah.
time, and I think that's like a greater Maryland, basketball trait of just like, hey, like we're not leaving this thing at
Okay.
11 and 21. Like we got to
Right.
turn this thing around, and and go from there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I knew I was coming into a program like, they had, 2018, beat Virginia and stuff like that. But in the recent years, just not being able to beat like Vermont gets to win that championship. So I just feel like that's got to be the goal every year. Like that's what I came here for. So yeah.
I think it's the being the hunter versus the hunted thing, right? Like
Right.
it's like, hey, it's kind of cool to go after those guys and try to dethrone them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's different coming from like a winning program, but
Yep.
it's always the goal.
Yep, that makes sense. He scored a team high and a career high, 15 points and 6 of 8 shooting against my Terps. So I was a little bummed to see that at the time, but that was an especially good game.
Yeah.
I guess that was pretty early in the season too. Was that like a kind of welcome to college basketball moment? Like, hey, this is a big time opponent. They're the local other in-state school here, that I've watched play probably growing up. Like, I guess what was that moment like?
I felt like it was like a realization like that I can, score score in different ways and instead of like, just trying to get downhill and stuff like that. Like
Sure.
And especially against bigger teams like that. The game was low key out of reach, but by the time the second half started, but I scored all of that in the second half, and it was just like you see what you can do.
Yeah.
This is against Maryland. Like this ain't no, regular team. And before that, I think we had played Penn State York before that, and that's when I got my first bucket. And I scored like 12 points, but it was, it wasn't against like the Division I competition. So then when we played Maryland, it was just like a realization, like, okay, this is what I can do, and I just need to, just keep being comfortable, shooting the ball, shooting these shots, and then, yeah, it was just a confidence booster for real.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'm assuming some of those guys from playing locally and stuff like that. I know like Juju Reese is from the Baltimore area and the Baltimore Catholic League too. So I'm sure he played against him at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's probably nice to go out and say, like, all right, I can do this too.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Guys, yeah.
That's awesome. Just as an outsider looking in, Coach Ferry likes to play kind of an up-tempo offense, and he's not afraid to let guys score points. It seems like it would be a fun system to play in as a guard, but you tell me, is that really the case?
It was definitely an adjustment because, in high school, we did flex offense. Like, I'm walking the ball up, you know what I'm saying? I'll pass, I'll go to the corner and wait to, But here, like, we trying to, it was, what did he say? So basically, we try to get down. Everybody got to get past the half court by like 3 seconds in the shot clock. So we really just running like he says race each other. Like we're trying to race down the court. Really just advance. We got this thing called clear and pull where I get the outlet and I'm trying to advance into the same side corner. And if I do that, and I'm cutting all the way through to the opposite side of the corner, and I'm still running around. So it's just fast tempo, up tempo. I think we were top 5, or it might have been top. First in the country last year in pace.
I believe it.
Shooting the ball in like less than average was like 13 seconds or something like that. So it was just like definitely an adjustment, but yeah, it's definitely fun. Like get up and down, like I'm saying, push the ball. I love transition, so that's where a lot of my points came from last year. So it's just it was real fun to play in this type of system.
I think in a system like that, they obviously want ball control and stuff, but also like, sometimes a turnover isn't the worst thing because it means you were trying to make the play and advance things and stuff like that. But as someone like you who had a pretty good assist to turnover ratio, especially, as a freshman going 2-to-1, like, was that an adjustment of like when to kind of like take the risk versus when not to?
Definitely. I mean, I remember last summer, we were drilling like the advance. And then, but sometimes I would like turn the ball over. So I realized like, okay, and also, coach told me a lot, like, it doesn't have to be the home run. Like, you can make an advance pass without, trying to, make a crazy pass. So really, like, the advance pass doesn't even have to be forward. It could be side to side. Just get the defense to shift. So I started really like, pushing and then advancing to, my trail man or whoever that was. And then really just getting the defense to shift over, get them to move while they're still trying to get back, trying to create like a miscommunication or whatever. So that was definitely a big, like, okay, now I know what to do. So that's what I feel like helped me, create less turnover.
I would imagine they're gonna ask you to score and be a little bit more aggressive for your own, attacking offense here a little bit this season. Is that something they've talked to you about, how your role will change in year 2?
Yeah, I feel like, it really has been like a mix of, watching film,
Mhm.
a mix of noticing what I can do in practice and just really working on, like, there's so many ways to score, just working on, expanding my game, expanding, shooting the shots in practice.
Mhm.
And that's been taking my game to the next level, like in practice and whatever we've been doing, runs, anything. I just been trying to, dominate, like really just score, or if I'm not scoring, then I can pass the ball like I was doing last year.
Mhm.
So it was just, it's been an adjustment, but I feel like it's been taking my game to another level. I'm exploring options like posting up. I'm
I was
sure
just
it's
gonna
like,
ask about
right,
posting up, to be honest with you.
all of
That's a
that.
good call.
So it's just all of that. So it's just like, you can do this. You've worked on it,
Mhm.
and so you just got to do it. Yeah.
At 6'3" in the conference that you're in, that makes you one of probably the biggest point guards in the league, if not
Mhm.
the biggest, honestly. So I'm glad to hear about the post up, because you mentioned having good touch around the rim and things like that. That's
Mhm.
seems like a good opportunity to,
Yeah.
exploit a mismatch there.
I wish I would have known it earlier. Like, it's really, once if you're driving, you might not be able to get by your defender every
Mhm.
time, but if you can turn that into a dribble back down and then,
Yep.
create advantages. A lot of teams like to double out the post, so now we can, move the ball, backdoor cuts, and then, obviously wing or whatever we do. So I just feel like, it's definitely a new part of my game. I wish I would have had earlier, but I'm glad I have it now.
The most important thing, I think, for somebody posting up is to be able to pass out a double
Yeah,
team, and who better to do that than your point guard? So I like that.
exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think the high level of competition you played in the Baltimore Catholic League was something that, helped you, like, kind of more easily transition into college basketball?
Definitely. Even, the BCL or anywhere in the DMV, just growing up here, like, you're not gonna find anything better.
Yep.
I played with a lot of teams growing up, and just you get to play the best competition, and
Mhm.
in the country, just in your area. I wouldn't have asked for anything else. Like, it was definitely, playing for great coaches, playing with great players that are, you can see them. You grew up with them, grew up playing against them. Now you can see them all these places. So it isn't a coincidence that you play with the best players in the country or whatever. Now you can deal with that once you go to college.
If you've guarded a 5-star point guard, from one of the DC AAU teams in a big AAU tournament, now all of a sudden you've got to guard somebody, you know, at like your conference level. Like, you've
Hmm.
played better players before. Not, no
Exactly.
disrespect to them, but like,
Right.
it's just, I think that's nice when it's nothing that you haven't seen before, at least.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah.
That's cool. Any local guys, like whether it's just people from the greater, DMV area or Baltimore area, that like helped you, like any older guys that gave you lessons or passed things down, or other Mount St. Joe's guys that kind of passed on some stuff?
Um, Definitely. I had a lot of trainers. Like,
Mm.
I used to train with the Don Aaron during COVID. He gave me a lot of knowledge because he grew up around here, and
Mhm.
he actually trained my dad and my mom.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like, even my dad and my mom, like, they grew up here. My dad played at Towson, my mom played at Georgetown, so they had the knowledge. Like, they, drilling into me since I was, 3, and like investing in basketball. So
Mhm.
I feel like I give most of my props to them. Trainer with Rhythm Dribble, Daryl Adams, because his son, he went to Mount St. Joe,
Mhm.
so he knew, Jalen Adams, so he knew, like, what coming through there was like. You know, um, they used to, Coach Classy, my high school coach, he used to compare me a lot to Jalen Adams. So I just feel like, I've had a lot of trainers and good people around me, that just, gave me the knowledge I needed, to, succeed. And then lately, I think I started with junior year training with Pace Guard. He went to Cal Hall,
Okay.
and so, he came through. And so there's a lot of people that came through where I came through, and they knew what it takes and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's awesome, and It's almost like you're looking at my outline here because I was just about to ask about your parents next. They both played, like you said, Division I basketball here in the area. Did that like help make your choice to play locally? Like, was that a factor in it? Like, hey, they played locally. I want to play locally, and I want them to be able to see me play around here too.
I felt like, I mean, it was kind of a part of the factor, but I felt like, I rock with UMBC so much.
Sure.
I feel like if they were, in a different state, I would still go there. Like, but it's definitely like a plus. Like, being 15 minutes away, it's just, I can go home and get a meal whenever I want. Since my people. So it's just, it's definitely just a plus. Like, yeah, definitely.
Are they still giving you tips after games and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. I'm still watching film with my dad,
That's cool.
We watch Synergy together, and we can see any play that we want. So it's just, definitely. My mom definitely too. Like, she gets mad when I not in tag mode and stuff like that. Still, so yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. You were productive on both ends of the floor as a freshman. I think obviously that's got to feel pretty good, but was there something last year that you didn't do that you're like, in retrospect, I should have done more of X?
I feel like I could have, because a lot of the games, like, especially in that 8-game skid, we were giving up. It would be just like one dude who would get like 30 or 40.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I could have taken better ownership and be like, okay, now let me get them, or let me guard them, stuff like that. I feel like I could have did that a little bit better. But, when you're a freshman, it's just like, kind of take a back sheet a little bit. But also, definitely being a leader more. Like, I'm not going to say I was quiet and stuff, but I could have definitely had a bigger voice. So, but I mean, taking that into this year, I had to be a leader. It's definitely a learning standpoint. But, definitely those two.
Even on a younger team, you don't want to step on the older guy's toes. So it's like, when do I raise my hand and say, like, I got this guy or whatever? But in year two, you're going to play a big enough role that I think it's a lot easier probably to just hey, this one's mine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's cool. How are you feeling about this team, this year team coming up? Like, I'm assuming you guys have done some workouts together and stuff over the summer. Like, how are guys looking? How you feeling about things?
I feel like we looking good. I feel like, a lot of guys are dedicated. Like, I feel like we have more people in the gym. You know what I'm saying? We getting in runs, we playing 8 brothers ones, 3-on-3, 5-on-5. We getting in there even when the coaches aren't in there. So I feel like that's a good sign. Like, people want to get better. People want to win. And when we compete, you know what I'm saying, it's just everybody going hard. You know what I'm saying? To see like the pride people are taking, the effort people taking. People don't want to leave. You know what I'm saying? We basically had to be like, all right, no, this is the last game and stuff like that for our bodies and stuff like that. So I just feel like it's definitely been a good start. Good start. We built a foundation. What we want to do, we know what we want to do. So I just feel like we just gotta keep going. Yeah.
I think that's like if there is a silver lining to having a substandard record for what you guys expected, is that's a gut check for everybody, right? Like that's like, okay, now we gotta double down here on how much work we put in. And it's great to hear that that's resonated with guys.
Definitely.
You mentioned rest and recovery there. If you're like anyone else I've ever met under 25, you don't think about those things when you're in high school the same way. Like, you don't have to ice and stretch and all that kind of stuff. Is that something they really kind of like, impart upon you guys, as the need to take care of yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I first came in freshman year. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna have to do any of that stuff in the room. Like, maybe I might use the gun or might phone roll, but now I'm realizing how much it helps and takes your game to a new level once you can do it every day, get treatment. You know what I'm saying, and then you feel better than you know what I'm saying, you would if you didn't do anything the next day. So definitely just getting in the training room and, what I'm saying, taking care of your body is the most important thing. There's the most, what's the saying? It's like the most important ability or something like that.
Is availability. Yeah.
Availability. Yeah.
That's a good one.
So yeah, definitely that.
That's smart. And it's kudos to you for learning and taking in that lesson at a young age. I'm in my mid-30s and still play a couple times a week. And I wish I was smarter about recovery and stretching at least too. So that's awesome. Just a couple like quick rapid fire ones to close us out here. Anything you want to share with us about you off the court, whether it's a guilty pleasure TV show or music or hidden talent or things that people might not know about you?
Off the court, I mean, I like to rap. I'm not gonna lie, I like freestyling.
Okay.
Like,
Nice.
I don't know, because I listen to Rilo Rodriguez a lot, and guys like that just, you know what I'm saying, just make me want to rap. Like, how do they come up with those type of bars and stuff like that, with type of rhymes like that? So I like to rap a lot.
Cool. Can anyone else on the team rap? Anybody? Any competition
yeah,
there?
we got a couple guys that we, you
Okay.
know what I'm saying, we having some freestyles and stuff like that.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? We turn a beat on in the locker room and just, you know, start rapping and stuff like that sometimes. But
that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like TV, I don't really watch TV like that. But I feel like my favorite TV show all time is definitely like SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, I like it. There you go.
Yeah, I grew up on SpongeBob, so I tune in every time I see it. So
you ever see the SpongeBob Kyrie Irving shows? Or Kyrie Irving shoes that look like the pineapple? I wanted those so bad. I've never gotten a pair, but
remember dudes back in the in high school who had them. I was like, yo, I'm trying to get
exactly.
trying to get those, but
yeah,
those were fire.
That's cool. Which NBA team did you grow up rooting for?
The Heat. Dwayne Wade, my favorite player of all time. So
that's going.
The Heat, definitely. Yeah.
Favorite food?
Probably Pop-Tarts.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's also easy on the go on the way to practice or class or something like that too.
Right here. So.
There you go. We got to get you an NIL sponsorship with Pop-Tart. Come on, guys.
Hopefully.
Let's get it going. That's free advertising. The whole point of this podcast is just tell cool DMV area basketball stories. And I know people do the like Baltimore's and DMV thing, but we're branching out. You're from like the Columbia area. That's DMV to me. So anybody, like, is there one story that comes to mind of like basketball from this area, whether it's a loaded team you played against or a tough matchup or a fun guy you got to practice or work out against growing up?
I say, well, I mean, you know what I'm saying, just having the guards around here. Like, I remember I have a bounce back story, I guess.
Okay.
We played, this is senior year, we played Paul VI at DeMatha.
Ooh, okay, that's tough.
We were down like 30 at half. Like, it was bad. I think we ended up losing by like 35, something crazy.
Jeez. Okay.
And we was just like we supposed to be nice, like what's going on? And then like a week after that, we were in Hawaii, and you know, games are like 1 a.m. over here.
Brutal.
It might have been even later. And then, you know, but people were tuning in because we had played Mount Vernon.
Sure.
And then, you know, we ended up winning. We ended up beating them, and then I just saw like all the support from like back home. Like,
yep, that's cool.
People were still up. It was like 4 a.m. in the morning by the time the game was over.
That's appointment television. You can't miss that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people were tuning in. I just felt like, you know, people were like, oh yeah, DMV, you know what I'm saying, we got the best basketball, you know what I'm saying, in the country, stuff like that. So they were just, you know what I'm saying that. I feel like the DMV pride that we have for hoops is just like no other. Like, even going to like prom games, I played in the Brunson League, just something. It was something like I never seen before. Like, just people just coming out just to watch basketball. Like, it's definitely like a great thing. Like, I wouldn't ask for anything else. Like, just the pride we take and just having good hoops. You know what I'm saying? It starts at an early age. You know what I'm saying? Coaches staying with 7th grade, 6th grade teams, stuff like that. Just developing players from early age. I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's the best over here.
That's a great answer. And yeah, anytime anybody beats Montverde at anything, I think that's a pretty big deal, because I don't remember which particular team that would have been, but I would imagine half of those guys are on their way to the NBA in the next couple of years too.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Any local basketball player that you think we should have on the show here next?
I say try to get they can be in high school.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. Try to get BJ Ransom.
Okay.
Or Tyon Farrell.
Okay.
Yeah, those two.
Got it. All right, add them to my list. I appreciate the recommendation there.
Sure.
Ace, any social media accounts that people can follow here?
Oh yeah, at the Ace Valentine on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. This was great, man. Thank you so much for doing this. It was nice to connect, and I think you guys are going to turn things around here this season. You look at Coach Ferry team records; they trend up every year. So last year was just a blip. I'm sure you guys will get back to it this season, and I know you're going to have a big part in that.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you're listening to this right now on YouTube, please click that like button for us, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are presented by betonline.ag, and we will catch you all next time.